Are in focus tonight, which is Eminent Citizens Support CAA. And to talk about it, we have in our studio Praful Ketkar, editor-organizer, also Shekhar Iyer, senior journalist, joining us here tonight. Shekhar, what do you make of this move in the first place? These Eminent Citizens meeting a person no less than the first citizen of the country to express their concern, their misgiving really about the kind of agitation that is taking place over the CAA, which is now not as violent as it was when it had started.
Well, I think these very concerned eminent citizens have been watching the situation for over a month now, and they are appalled and they are very concerned that what has started as a kind of a so-called public protest against a legislation is actually turning into a kind of a tool to spread anarchy, to create a breakdown, and to overall ensure chaos, as it were, so that those who are opposed to the constitutional scheme of things can actually create a bigger problem. So, therefore, today these people, they do not belong to any political party. They are all individuals who have served the government, they serve the judiciary, they have served in the armed forces, and today they feel that the way the things are shaping up, in particularly they are referring to what is happening in a Delhi locality called Shaheen Bagh,
Yes.
and also attempts being made to replicate that kind of sit-in in other places, which they feel is actually, it is not about a law per se or a legislation per se, but it is more about giving room or acting as a tool for those forces which are on the decline, but are looking for ways to revive themselves, revitalize themselves by using methods of anarchy.
Praful, this entire protest that is taking place, particularly the one in Shaheen Bagh, because that's the one most in focus. Even today, we saw that there were elements who misbehaved with the journalists. In fact, people were not just manhandled, they were beaten up, their equipment was destroyed, and clearly this is not as peaceful as a protest as people would have us believe.
No, many people tried to project it as a peaceful protest, but from day one, because I visited Selampur also, and the kind of sloganeering that was taking place even in AMU or what happened in Jamia. But if you remember, why this messaging is important by these people. These are the people who are sort of opinion makers of the society. They carry certain weight. Earlier also we have seen certain academicians came out and they wrote to the Prime Minister about the culture of violence on the campuses. So, they are raising this voice is a very important message to the society, because the issue is the intellectual confusion. So, these people coming forward and making certain statement has a very significant value. But the point that I am trying to make is, in Bangalore, a pro CAA rally, after attending a rally, a youth was attacked and almost he was dead. He is still struggling with his life. A doctor was forced to leave his job in Kerala. In Jharkhand, a rally was attacked with petrol bombs. So, all these symptoms are showing that it is not just a people's peaceful protest. There is something bigger that is going on behind this. What is that needs to be openly addressed? Some people might want to project this as, oh, there are tricolors, oh, we can see Bapu's face there. But if that is used to camouflage something very,
yes, these are symbols,
that is
these are national symbols,
happening,
yes.
That is to create disturbance in the society. Even as the the people who were involved in this process said that protest is a democratic right, but can you block a road for that? Can you block ambulances and school buses for that? Can you stop somebody like DD News journalist, his camera was forcefully shat. So, this is not definitely this is not a democratic and peaceful way to protest, and that is also on the issue which has nothing to do with the people concerned. So, somebody is actually fueling this. So, that needs to be addressed. So, intellectually clearing the atmosphere, I think this is the very important message that these eminent people have given to us.
Shekhar, in the case of Shaheen Bagh, some people are saying that because Delhi is going to elections on the 8th of February, that's one reason why vested political forces are using this entire set of people for their own purposes. But what Praful has pointed out in terms of instances in Bangalore and instances in Jharkhand, that is suggesting that this is a wider problem and that it needs to be tackled slightly differently.
Yeah, because you see what has happened is sections of the community have been quite, I would say, have not understood this legislation and have been have not been told actually what is it about. So, what you are seeing is a fear building upon fear, and a kind of a situation sought to be created in their own minds that something big catastrophe is going to happen to a section of the population because of this.
These images that we are showing from Shaheen Bagh, look at how the camera is being blocked. That is not a peaceful gesture at all, Shekhar.
No, I think what is probably happening now, they have been getting the kind of publicity they wanted. Now, probably the organizers and those who are actually behind this sit-in probably feel if there is going to be a greater media scrutiny, probably it will bring out some unpleasant things. And those unpleasant things are as to who is actually mobilizing these people to come and sit in. Are individuals motivated after understanding the issue involved, or is it a systematic way of getting some people to come out using some endorsements, so that you can show some big movement has started? Because there is a sense of timing, there is a sense of purpose, and there is a sense of coordination, and it seems to be well orchestrated. No problem with that. But the thing is, the idea is to create a public disorder, a public chaos, because that particular area of Delhi, for our viewers who are not familiar with Delhi, connects the southern parts of Delhi with a huge city called Noida on the further side across the Yamuna.
Yes.
So, this is an arterial road. So, when
There's
you block, and it
Faridabad and
also
Gurgaon on the
involves
other
vast
side as well.
residential areas in this part like Sarita Vihar. This has affected movement of school buses, office goers, ambulances, and this is not happened for a day or two. Now, it is almost a month. Now, obviously, what is the ultimate purpose? Because there are no specific demands. Now, the issues that are being, and of course, there is also an attempt by some sections of the media to romanticize this whole thing, that Shaheen Bagh is our Tahir Square of the Arab Spring, and poetry is being read, preamble of the Constitution is big, to show that the whole idea is to glorify something without getting into what is the objective, what is the grouse about, what is causing that grouse, how valid is the sense of alienation that is sought to be further spread. Because at a stage comes, Gautam, where you tend to believe your own propaganda, because you constantly feel, oh, this is against us, this is going to get us out, this is going to disenfranchise us. See, this fear psychosis, ultimately those who are spreading it also get caught.
Right.
In a situation like that, I think it's not interest in the community on whose behalf this is sought to be done. And for all others, we have also seen, as Praful was mentioning, some intellectuals and so-called the thinking people have been involved. You have seen some eminent writers and authors have also lent their voice.
Now, all this must be also going across to those who are protesting, those who are agitating, and they must also be thinking to themselves, Praful, won't they be thinking that, where are we taking this agitation? How are we going to sustain it? What are we trying to achieve? The government has already said that the CAA has been passed by both houses of parliament. The president has given its a nod. It's been notified as well. It will not be taken back. So, what is the purpose?
See, the purpose has nothing to do, I believe, with CAA. On the one hand, this is a sort of show of strength, show of opposition unity. The kind of voices that reach there. Even in media sections, you have seen that certain media houses are allowed, certain are blocked. That clearly shows certain people are going and inciting actually, you know, the emotions. So, it clearly is a plot, and the way women and children are used as a shield, you know, they know very well that a police or anybody, any administration cannot take action. Even the High Court instructions clearly showed that, you know, that it has to be balanced. So, that there seems to be a real design, you know, to, but as you also said, you know, I believe that this will be sustained at least till Delhi elections are over, but this will not end completely. See, if you see the cycle, the goalposts have been changing time and again.
Yes.
You know, initially it was police atrocities against students.
Correct.
Then it moved to AMU, then it came back to, you know, Jamia Nagar, then it went to Silampur, then to JNU, and now Shaheen Bagh. So, the places will change, but the strategy will remain same, and creating some kind of unrest, creating some kind of confusion and anarchy. It will be in the name of CAA now, then it will be NPR, you know, the census, everything will be questioned in the name of some identity.
And even dialogue has been attempted, Shekhar. It's not as if that sort of an attempt has not been made. The police has also tried to intervene very, very respectfully and peacefully, and trying to at least, in a sense, counsel these people that, you know, you're not getting anywhere. But people just don't seem to listen to anyone. They can't even trust the country's topmost leadership.
Yeah, I think probably you know, we are able to sense actually the whole idea seems to be not work for a solution, but somehow, you know, get trapped in a kind of thing and trap everyone else too, because the idea is not a resolution. The idea is to somehow keep it going and make it a show of resistance, a resistance that was not seen 7-8 months ago when Lok Sabha elections were held and this government got a huge mandate. Now, probably those who fail to get that kind of support are probably getting some kind of I would say catharsis, seeing some kind of a thing which they feel probably can revive them.
But if this sort of resistance is felt widely, Shekhar, it should swell. There should be more and more crowds in Shaheen Bagh, which is there today, should become India Gate tomorrow, but that's not happening.
No, that cannot happen because there has to be an original issue which is based on certain facts. Now, this particular...
it had to happen, it should have happened by now.
No, it should have happened. It can happen only if there are certain facts for people to feel worried about. Here is, you have taken control, you have made certain sections of the population as your hostage, and you are constantly brainwashing them into believing that, you know, the worst is due to come upon them because of this legislation, which does not cover anyone who is living in this country. It's about those unfortunate people who had to leave our neighboring countries on grounds of religious persecution. This everybody knows, the law is clear. I mean, a fine reading would do. But to go on saying, look, this is the step towards something else that is going to happen, and that something else is going to lead to something else, and that will, you know, end up in us being, you know, no more citizens of this country. This is such a long circuitous logic that is being applied here just to stoke fear. And fear, as we have often defined, is false evidences appearing as real, and to get that sense it's going on. But I think it's the most unfortunate part is the people who are there, people who are supposed to be sitting in, they probably have been made to believe it's for some great higher cause without them even understanding the basic tenets of law.
Praful, last but not least, who should bear the onus for this thing just going on and on and on without an end, without any solution in sight?
No, somebody and someday, you know, whoever is leading this, they, you know, this entire agitation was deliberately kept faceless. Because something happens, nobody is, you know, held responsible for this. But the fact is, if somebody is going and giving certain messaging, whoever, whatever is the ideology, whatever is the political party, they should take responsibility of this kind of protest, and the kind of words that are used, even for that matter, even you know, at AMU yesterday, what we heard, you know, the messaging is not very good. You know, see, whoever believes in a secular democratic nature of India should understand that creating this narrative of 800 years rule of one religion, or supremacy sloganeering, is not never considered to be good for a democratic secular society. Now people who consider themselves to be secular, they are using a certain identity to further their political goals, so they should be held responsible. Of course, administration has to be more careful, certain kind of communication, and I believe as the eminent citizens came out, certain eminent Muslims also should come out openly now and make certain statement about such kind of protest and fear mongering.
Certainly, that is perhaps the need of the hour to not just settle things about the CAA one way or the other, to reassure people that they have nothing that they will lose, they stand to lose nothing at all because of this legislation. But even if they have other misgivings, they can also be catered to, they can also be answered. Thanks a lot for joining us this evening, both Shekhar and Praful.